influencing people with your smarts or influencing them with your heart. Welcome to the Own Your BS show, the place where we help you to strengthen connections, conquer challenges, and claim your messages. I'm Cindy Tien, and in this episode, we'll be diving into the topic of wholehearted influence at work. And I can't wait to introduce my co-host and dear friend, Coen Tan, who will be the best person to talk about this. And I'd love to introduce this dear friend of mine. He is a certified speaking professional, a title held by top 12% of speakers globally. He has spoken in more than 12 countries and trained over 50,000 individuals. And Coen is also the host of his very own Wholehearted podcast. A very big warm welcome, Coen.
Hi Cindy, thank you for the invitation and very excited to be speaking to you today.
Yes, so am I. So am I. You know, we've been friends for such a long time, and finally we get to do this. We've known each other for probably about a decade long, I think.
Yeah.
And I must say, I'm not just a friend of yours, I'm also a fan of yours.
Aww.
We have had countless conversations. You have coached me many times. And you know, when I think about you as I was preparing for this session, the three words that came to mind for me is represented by the three I's, and I suspect you know them. First is insightful, in-depth, and intense. And I know you hear that a lot about yourself.
Yes.
So I know you call yourself the chief listening officer and somebody who is like hypersensitive, right? Yeah. So let's kind of start with that. You know, where did this all sort of came about?
I would say since I was young, right, I've always felt like I could pick up people's emotions around me. So it's like when I go to a relative house, for example, on the way home, on the drive home, I'll just tell my parents like, hey, you know, Ai today doesn't feel like she's feeling very good today. And my parents will often just brush it off and say, hey, you know, I think you think too much, where God, you know. But a few days later, right, my parents will get a call from that same auntie and they'll come to me and say, hey, sure enough, you know, auntie is going through some personal challenges. How did you pick that up? And so from a very young age, I realized that I was able to pick up a lot of things. And it pains me to say this, but this is also a very important, defense mechanism for me because I grew up in a household where violence and conflict was quite common.
Wow.
So being able to read the room as well was helpful for me to learn how to avoid certain situations.
Wow. It must have been tough then. That means your antenna needs to be very strong to sort of ascertain whether there's danger or not at home.
Yeah.
You know, whether the violence is going to come in. Right? Well, we're starting really heavy here, but it's Coen and Cindy, so...
That's intense.
Yeah, that's super intense. Let's go straight to the intensity. So let's talk about wholehearted influence because I think this is, to me, it's a very special topic. And if I think about the word influence, what really comes to my mind when I think about influence, and back in the day, in my 20s and 30s, I would think what influence is somebody who's got superior people skills. I would think of it that way, and somebody who is probably very confident. And if I were to think about it, and I have always felt that I'm good with people's skills, so I think this is probably a little blind spot of mine. And the reason why I feel that way is because I've grown up with 20 people in the same house. When I was 19 years old, I joined the airline as an air crew, so I flew internationally for 6 years. And then after that, I did corporate sales in large MNCs for 10 years. So I've always been very good with people.
Yeah.
But I know now that it doesn't mean that you're with people all the time. It means you're good with people. It's like, you know, if you're in a garage, it doesn't make you a car, right? So I learned through the hard way, and I attended a coaching session once. And this coach told me very directly that, Cindy, your blind spot is that you think you're very good with people. And that just came as a shock, you know. And over the years, I've learned that I was just very good with and this is painful to even talk about it, I was just very good with the superficial stuff, the smiling, the nodding. I was just trained to be nice. I was just connecting with people because I was showing the niceness part, but I had zero influence over people if I think about it, So I thought about the word influence, and I remember when I was working in an MNC at that time, I was 6 years pretty much in the same role, and I wasn't getting promoted. I had a new colleague that joined the team, and I'm just going to give her a fictitious name. Let's call her Hannah, okay? So Hannah, 6 months in the role, I noticed that she had everyone wrapped around her finger.
Wow.
And this Hannah was like a very, you know, the local word is very sweet, small little lady, very unassuming, cheerful, bouncy. And when I say wrapped around the finger, I meant that, I don't mean it in a manipulative way. I meant that she's got some genuine influence. So I started observing this lady, and a few things I noticed about her is, first and foremost, when we are in meetings, right? If she does not agree with something, she will respectfully voice it out. So her voice gets heard. That's the first thing.
Nice.
Second thing I noticed about her is that when she has conflicts or disagreements with people, and for me, I come from a place whereby, hey, conflict, I sweep it under the table. And she doesn't do that. She will actually bother to have long conversations with a person, long calls, long meetings, and she will address the situation. So what it means is that I've noticed that her relationships with people were very deep.
Nice.
And then the third thing I noticed about her is that she would actually make an effort to build relationships with people outside her comfort zone. And that was something I didn't dare to do. I would just be talking to my 2 to 3 best friends and that's it, So I noticed all these things about her and I say, wow, this person has got genuine influence, and she got it. She's just here for like 6 months. I've been here for 6 years. Like, what the hell is wrong? So I think the realization was that influence is not just about confidence with people. It's actually a lot of courage from within also. So I really wanted to hear from you, like, what is wholehearted influence,
Wow.
Yeah, how did it sort of come to that?
What you just said.
Yeah.
So much to unpack what you just shared. First of all, right, I think maybe you're a little too harsh on yourself. Or really maybe the coach at a point in time said that you think you're good with people, but maybe you're not. Maybe there were some blind spots, but I thought maybe the way she kind of broke it to you is a little too direct. I probably wouldn't have phrased it that way. I think every one of us have influence in some sense or other. Whether the influence is good or not is another thing altogether. But we all have a sense of influence no matter what. So I think, it's not just about confidence, it's also about how you're able to make people feel. So let me share a little bit about my own background with influence. And my company is called Ministry of Influence, right? So how I came up with this name, actually, right, let me share with you, let me take you a bit further back. I don't actually like to read. When I was in school, right, I don't like to study. But because my parents put a lot of pressure on me to study, I kind of like study for the sake of studying so that I can get good grades, so that I won't get punished by my parents, so that my parents can just get off my back, But I really hated studying and I hated reading. So my father always comment to me and say, hey, you don't like to read, you don't read anything outside of class, anything outside of textbook. I'm like, what's the point of reading all this when it's not going to come in the exam paper, right? So, but I only actually picked up my first ever book when I was in the army. When I was in the army, one day, I don't know why, I was just curious, I picked up this book. It's by John C. Maxwell. It's called Becoming a Person of Influence.
Wow.
And you see, let me ask you a question. When you're in the army, what do you want the most when you're a guy?
What do I want the most?
Okay, not you, but what do a guy want the most in the army?
Oh, wow. I'm guessing leadership qualities to fit in.
Oh, you're so noble. Actually,
No, isn't it? No, not sex,
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, that just came from leadership to sex. What?
I know. But what I really wanted was to have a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Sorry. My mind went a totally different way.
Okay. We're always hanging around guys, right? Like, all I want to do is to have a girlfriend.
Okay.
Right, but I realized that, a bit more background, because I was so hypersensitive I was growing up, and because of the kind of household I was living in, I really had very low self-esteem. I was very socially awkward around people. And I told you earlier on, I was very sensitive, right? I can pick up emotions of people. But the problem with all this sensitivity is I pick up all these emotions, but what do I do with it? And so often I'm always in my own little world. I seem to be like jammed. I seem to be like hang there, like the windows hanging like that. So I was very socially awkward in school. So I was bullied a lot in school. I never fit in. So what I really wanted more than anything in my life, right, is to, number one, fit in, to belong. Number two, to have friends. And third, to have a girlfriend, obviously. So if I don't even belong, I don't even know how to have big friends, how to have a girlfriend. So when I picked up that book in army, right, I remember, Someone's Army Eubolia, right, I was reading the book. And there was one line in there that really changed my life. He said, a person of influence don't make people like them. They make people like themselves better when they are with this person.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And straight away, there was like something, a light bulb went in me. Something just shifted in me. I go like,
that's so powerful.
How can I be that kind of person that can make people feel better about themselves when they are in my presence? And so that to me really, really shifted everything for me. And so I started becoming more empathetic towards people. So that sensitivity that I had, I sort of like rewired that sensitivity to empathy. Because I'm picking up all these emotions, so I'm able to pick up people's needs. And being aware of people's needs, to your question, why I call myself the chief listening officer. Because I listen to what people say, I listen to how they say it, I listen to what people don't say, but they want to say, or they don't know how to say, or they don't dare to say. So I was able to pick up all of these things. And because of this, right, I'm able to meet people's needs, meet people where they are, rather than try to influence them or try to, right, in today's words, right, the Gen Zs, the young people call this Riz, like charisma, Riz, R-I-Z. Instead of trying to Riz people with my charisma, I focus more about who they are, what they need, and meet people where they are. So that's really, to me, the central idea around how I define influence.
Beautifully said. I think in this day and age, we are just far behind. We're just away from what people call to be what's charismatic, right? The rah-rah on stage, the Tony Robbins type of energy. Not that that's bad. I like Tony Robbins, but not all of us are built like that. We were talking about human design earlier. Our energy levels are different. Our personality is different. So what does it mean? So when you say wholehearted influence, so tell us a little bit more about that.
Wholeheartedly, okay. Now here's the scale part of the equation, right? Wholehearted. Really, the journey of finding wholehearted and starting on my own podcast called the Wholehearted Podcast, right, really started when I was really sitting with myself, like you introduced me as intense. And so for a long time, people have called me rather intense. And there was a period of time where I really tried very hard to fit in, and I was really doing the whole big rah-rah energy, intense kind of thing, until I really don't like myself in the mirror. Then I started swinging the other way around. I started getting very intensely curious about people. Every person I meet, I'll ask like very deep questions, until they kind of go like, why are you asking all these questions? It's very intrusive. So then I also started to realize, like not everybody is ready for that kind of like depth. Like so fast, too much too soon. Right? So I start to calibrate and try to find myself. So that was in that journey of my life when I was just trying to figure out where I stand on this thing. I was listening to a podcast by my favorite podcast host, Brené Brown. She was having a conversation just like us right now and with a guest. And she was like laughing, and she was like, oh my God, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I remember I was actually on my daily walk when I heard that, and it just hit me like, ping. I like that word. I like the sound of that word, wholehearted. I'm not intense, I'm just wholehearted. And it means so much to me because I'm an Enneagram type 4. I come from the heart. Secondly, wholeness is about healing. I think a lot of us are sort of like broken in some way or other. Like we are kind of like affected by some of our childhood experiences, childhood trauma, some past experiences that were not very, very, positive. And as like you say, you sweep it away, you don't want to deal with it. But it comes back to haunt us in some way or form or other, because if you want something so badly, like you want love, you want attention, you want, belonging, you want approval, if you're addicted to some of these things, right, then it becomes like a software, like a line of coding that is running inside your heart all the time. It's always running in your life. And a lot of what you do, you can end up seeking for that same thing. And that actually not going to make you more influential. It's going to take you further and further and further away from being an influential person. Because when people interact with you, people kind of feel like they're taken from rather than they are given to. To use the word influence, right? Influence comes from the etymological root of influence comes from the Latin word in and fluere. Fluere means breathe, and in means to breathe into. So to influence somebody is to breathe life into somebody. So if you are looking at somebody or something, when you breathe life into it, that thing becomes more alive as a result of your intervention. That's influence, not manipulation. I want you to do this means I kind of like guide you based on what I want. Influence is about breathing life into the person so that they can go and do what they want to do. So if you come from a place of wanting to take from people are going to feel it. People are going to sense it. People are going to feel it from a mile apart. They might conform. They might just go along with you for some time. But after a while, they're going to feel so taken from. At worst, they might even feel violated. They might feel like, they feel so tired because they feel like so drained being around you. Then that's not influence. So wholeheartedness is about really fixing your relationship with yourself first so that you can have that better relationship with other people. You have a lot to share about this, about your relationship with yourself, right, Cindy?
Yeah.
Can you share some?
When you talk about this word wholehearted, right? This thing about wholeness and healing, it speaks a lot to me. mainly because I come from a place of being a Christian, right? And when we say wholeness in the Bible, or when we pray for somebody, you know, I used to be sick for quite some time. So I had a lot of like pastors praying for me. My mom would pray for me every other day. I had to declare Bible verses on myself because I was so sick. And for 1 year, I was hoping to get healed. It was because of a leg issue that I have. That's a totally another story altogether. But what we would usually declare is that as Jesus is healthy and whole, so are you in this world. Yeah, so wholeness is this idea of not just body, but mind, soul, spirit as well. I was just reading up, it says that in Hebrew, the word wholehearted or wholeness actually means shalom. And it actually means nothing missing, everything is intact and it's completeness, you know. So when Jesus healed people, he doesn't just heal people on the surface level, but he heals you from the inside out so that you can go out and be free to be yourself with your community. I just thought that was so beautiful. So when you say the word wholehearted, well, I thought that was really kind of touched a chord in my heart. So very nice, I love that. So Coen, if we kind of bring it down to earth, and I know you have a wholehearted program, what do people get from this Wholehearted Influence program if they were to subscribe to your training or coaching sessions?
There are three major pillars of wholeheartedness. The first pillar, right, is what I call sparkle. It's a 3S kind of framework. Sparkle, right, is actually, to me, a euphemism for healing. Because if you go to corporates and you tell them, hey, healing, people are like, what is this woo-woo thing, right? Like, so I prefer the word sparkle. And I think, like I said, if you heal your relationship with yourself, you sparkle from inside out. Right? You don't feel like you're a person who's always looking for something. Like you said, right? You come from a place of completeness. When you come from a place of completeness, right? You're comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Right? Then you can sparkle. To your story earlier on, Hannah, right? My suspicion is that she knows who she is. She knows what are her strengths, and she knows how to leverage on the strengths. And she don't try to overextend herself beyond who she really is. And that truly is sparkle. As I hear you narrate the story of Hannah, I kind of feel like I want to meet this person really.
Yes, and I guess it's a whole journey for people to go through this healing and the sparkle journey, right?
Yeah. So when you heal, right, you discover your sparkle. So that's the first pillar. I won't go to the nitty-gritty details unless you want to. So I think sparkle is the first pillar. And the second pillar is story. And a lot of people think storytelling is a word that is overused nowadays, right? Stories can be used in videos. Stories can be used in Instagram. Stories can be used in marketing, advertisement. It's just overused. But I think when it comes to telling stories, a lot of people think they're telling their stories, but they aren't actually telling the stories. Their stories are telling them. What I mean by their stories are telling them is that they are constantly telling old stories over and over and over again. It's almost as though they are run by their narratives in their mind. Right? I mean, just newsflash for you, right? We all quote things in narratives. Because everything in life have no meaning. You heard this word, right? Nothing has meaning unless the meaning you give to it. Right? Someone look at you and someone give you a stare. The meaning you give to it could be, oh, this person maybe likes me. That's why the person is looking at me more. Or maybe this person think maybe there's some vegetable stuck between my teeth. That's why the person is staring at me. Right? Or the person, this person, is he a pervert or whatever? Why is he staring so long? Right? So everything, I mean, the same action, but you have different meaning to it because you code it by different stories, the stories you tell. So I think a lot of us have a lot of stories that we have been telling since young. It kind of like form our identity, right? So very often we don't realize that our stories are running us rather than we telling the stories. So we don't realize that we actually have the opportunity to rewrite those stories, right? By actually revisiting all these old stories that don't serve you and rewrite those stories and be able to tell those stories to influence people. And the final S is style. And this is something that you are very familiar with, right? I mean, Cindy, I mean, when I look at you, you're always so stylishly dressed so stylishly. And you also, the way you carry yourself, a lot of style. There's some part of packaging. There's a part of, how do you say something, right? For example, you have something very dry to share, but you can always say it in a way that people can understand better. Like you can use an analogy, you can use a metaphor, instead of just like present dry statistics and graphs, right? So that's style. Style is about how you say something so that people understand you, people get you. A lot of people struggle with this. A lot of, especially smart people, intelligent people, because a lot of clients I work with, they are extremely bright, brilliant, smart. They're scientists, doctors, lawyers. There are people who really know what they're talking about. But the way they talk, right, like people don't get it. People just like, what is the person talking? Right? So it's about style. So how do you package what you have to say in a way? So sparkle, story, style. Together we combine this, you have wholehearted influence.
I love that. The three S's, so sparkle, story, and style. Huh?
Yeah.
Very nice. You know, we talk about style, and it makes me think about there's this lady, her name is Iris Apfel. I don't know if you've heard of her.
No.
She is a fashion icon,
Okay.
American businesswoman, and I think she's an interior designer. She lived up to age 102. You know,
Wow.
I think she just passed away last year in March. You can go and Google her. She's a very, very stylish senior lady, wear big glasses and very, very flamboyant. And there was this quote that she wrote, and I remember it kind of stuck with me. She says that fashion is something you can buy, but style is something you possess. The key to learning style is getting to know yourself, which takes years.
Love it.
So what I'm really thinking about this is very often we feel that we want to go and look at other people and we want to acquire style from the outside. But actually it's a process that comes from the inside, right?
Yeah.
It's this process of getting to know yourself. It's the self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-discovery journey. And if I think about my own journey, when I first started becoming a speaker and a trainer, I had a senior whom I deeply, deeply admired. And this lady, if there's one word I would use to describe her, she's just elegant. She would wear like a cream blazer, and then her hair would be all nicely blown, and then she'll wear those beautiful pearls, right? And because at that time I didn't know who I am, haven't gone through the self-awareness journey, so I thought, hey, I'm just gonna like copy her. Yeah, so I go and buy the cream blazer, go and buy the pearls, and then I copy her and I put on, and I felt that I was like in a costume, And it was very, very uncomfortable because I felt incongruent to it. It was honestly also not sustainable, and it just honestly felt very exhausting because I am definitely not elegant and dainty, right? I've got titanium hip joints and scars on my body. Okay, maybe elegant in another way, but I'm definitely not that style. Yeah.
You're edgy.
Yeah. So probably a little edgier rather than elegant. But I
Yeah.
think my point to this was that very often when people don't even go through the process of the healing, right, the sparkle, the style becomes then also very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
So I really like what you're talking about in this journey.
Yeah.
So, okay, so assuming somebody were to come to you, I mean a leader, I know you work a lot with leaders, right? Especially we talk about influence. So what would be the process like, if you just give us sort of like an overview?
A process.
A little process that you take them through.
Yeah, you're right. It starts with really knowing yourself. Like self-awareness is the starting for everything, right? Right. So a lot of people, they want shortcuts. I think we live in a world of shortcuts. Yeah. So I personally think that they want to go straight to the style part. It's like, hey, Coen, tell me like what is the 3-step techniques to tell story? What is the what is something I can really go and do to kind of like increase my influence tremendously just overnight. Like people want shortcut answers. And I think that it doesn't help that the world we live in today is AI. Right? It's like you want to know something or you want to think you know something, you go onto DeepSeek or ChatGPT and 5 seconds later, bam, the answer is there. And so what happens is that it creates what is called illusion of knowledge. So you think you know something, but then you have a sort of a Dunning-Kruger effect about it. It's like you think you know it, but you don't really know it, right? It's like you only know it when you be it. You only know it when you feel it, when you see the response people give to you. So like what you said earlier on about, you can buy fashion, but style is something that you need to sort of like acquire. You sort of need to learn and earn it. Right? I think it's about distilling about a part of who you are not, to really find out who you are. Sometimes people go through different journeys. Sometimes people know, I know who am I. But do you really know who you are?
Yeah.
Or is this a false persona that you think you know who you are? But people often know this is not who I am because I tried this, I did that, it doesn't work. And I think we live in an epidemic of meaning right now. Like a lot of people are leaving corporate world because they have been sold this narrative, right? That graduate, get a good job, work very, very hard, put in all-nighters, long hours at work, 16-hour shifts, and then you will be successful. And people are just burnt out. And people are not burnt out because they are tired. They are burnt out because they are deprived of meaning. They don't feel connected to what they are doing. And so, because of that, right, people need to really sit down and really audit themselves and say, no, what is it that I don't want? What is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? What is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? And then through the journey of distilling, right, you get more and more self-aware of who you are, and you start to peel off all the layers that who you're not. You start to peel off all the layers of masks that you're wearing that is not who you are. Otherwise, when you put that sense of style out there that is very performative, people can feel it, it feels inauthentic, people can smell it from far away, people get this sense of dissonance around you. People feel kind of like, I get a sense
Something about this person that I don't really trust.
Yeah.
Like they're not very congruent, not very aligned. You can kind of sense it when somebody is just not at home with themselves, kind of a thing, right?
I feel it also. I mean, I'm so glad that we're having this conversation right now also, because it's sort of like we are putting words to things that we feel all the time, but we don't quite know how to say it and explain it.
It's fascinating, right, about this style thing. And when I say style, I don't mean just from a perspective of just clothing, but also the way you speak, the way you show up, the way you're experienced. And all of this, I think, really even stems from the self-awareness journey, getting to know yourself, who you are and who you are not. And it takes years. It's not a one-time thing. So if somebody were to come to you, a leader were to come to you, and this person is like probably a C-suite person, and they says, hey, I'm busy, okay, but I want to take your Wholehearted Influence program, and maybe what I really want to learn is, I think a lot of leaders want to learn to be better at, public speaking, if you have to announce numbers at a town hall. And then if they say things like, I got no time for all of this.
Healing things.
I just want to present numbers in a more engaging way. And at my level, I really don't need to tell stories. Okay, let's say I'm really being the devil's advocate. I just want you to teach me to be a better public speaker. What would you tell them?
A lot of leaders will come to me and say, hey, I got to give this presentation, I need to perform straight away. It's like next week or 2 weeks later, right? So I don't have the time to do this whole healing thing and everything, right?
Exactly.
So can you give me like a shortcut and everything like that? I've worked with leaders before, but what's the amazing thing? It's like, even within 2 sessions, I'm able to very, very quickly, right, get a sense of this person and help this person get a sense of themselves. Because good public speaking is based on great private being.
Ooh.
Good public speaking is based on great private being. Because why I say that is, who are your being, right, shows up no matter what, how you speak. How you speak on stage, right? You can be very glamorous, you can dress very well, you can have beautiful slides. But if you are not in it, your heart is not in it, people cannot feel your passion, people cannot feel your alignment with the content that you're going to present. There's no way. So good public speaking is based on great public being. So there was one case study here. There was a senior leader of a Swiss finance company. He's a very high-level person, and he has to give a presentation in Jakarta in 2 weeks' time. And the presentation is extremely important, but at the same time, it's very dry. And so I sat with him and tried to understand the content of what he's trying to present. So I said, I get it. His content is very dry. His content is about selling a certain idea, a certain product. But then I also did a separate thing as well. I sat and listened to his story. I listened to his childhood story. I listened to how he was like as a child. I listened to what are his best moments growing up as a child. What are the most difficult moments growing up as a child? What annoys, frustrates him the most? Then I very, very quickly figured out that he's a very playful person. He's very active, he's very playful, he has a certain level of playfulness about him. And so I needed to kind of help him, coach him to find a way to present that dry topic in a playful way. And together we came up with a metaphor, a vase, a very precious Ming Dynasty vase. And so what he did was he unveiled a vase at the start of the presentation. People were like, what is this? And then he's asking people, and what is it? And people cannot guess. And he says that, what if I were about to drop this? Then people go, no! And he was like, don't worry, I won't drop it. It's too precious. But isn't corporate finance similar to this? We need to protect it. If we don't protect it, right, we will not be able to move forward as a company. And then he started talking about, give all the facts and figures about what are the things and steps needed to do to protect it. So I kind of mask a lot of the information here because I don't want to give away too much, it's confidential. But you get the point, right? But the only reason why I came up with this idea, this choreographed presentation for him, is because he has the personality to bring it out. If he don't have that personality, he doesn't have that little bit of playfulness about him, I would have gone a different direction. So to me, I feel like a lot of it is about how to give the person a presentation style or an approach that best meets who he is being. And he could align behind that. Why could he align behind that? It's because he's also playful. He's also willing to try. And it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. And guess what? When he presented it, it was very well received. And he has been promoted a few times since. He's since been transferred back to the headquarters in Switzerland. He's left Singapore a few years ago already.
Oh, I love that metaphor and that story. So powerful, right? When people can sit confidently with themselves and even go deep into understanding who they were as a child, they could actually show up a lot more authentically, right? And as a result of that, they can also influence better with the way they present their figures.
Let me give you another example.
Yeah,
There was
please.
another person who is a head of technology in a fintech company, right? So technology is like dry, So I interview him, I talk to him, I ask him, what are some of the things you wanted to do when you were young? And he said he wanted to be a tour guide. And I was like, tour guide, interesting, but why? As I found that out, right, I gave him one very interesting assignment. That weekend, he's going to book a tour. Singapore with this duck tour, hippo tour. He booked that tour, and I said, your only job is to follow the tour guide, talk to the tour guide, just absorb the essence of the tour guide. He went, he came back, he says, wow, that was such an invigorating experience. He almost felt like he connected with a childhood dream again. And then we started piecing together his presentation around some new product launch, some new software patch that's launched. And he needed to present it to non-technical people. I said, can you present this in a way that even the non-technical people can understand? Like a tour guide presenting to you the history of a place. Even though the tour guide has given the same presentation over and over and over again, but the tour guide needs to realize that every time you present this is to a fresh tourist. The person you're presenting to is listening to this for the first time. Can you make it in a way that you can tell stories so that you can make the whole thing interesting to people? Like you're showing them around a museum. And he actually modeled his presentation around showing people around the features and capabilities of that particular software, like he's bringing them on a museum tour. And I thought that was quite cool as well. Again, connecting people back to who they are being, because once I help them to connect back to who they are being, they don't even have time to think about, I'm so nervous about my presentation. They are so looking forward to it because it's like there's a part of who they are. It's a presentation of who they are instead of trying to be somebody they're not.
Well, that's super powerful. There's so much inner work to be done in order, I love that quote that you mentioned. Good public speaking comes from great private being. It really takes time for you to get to know yourself, right? Think back about your childhood, think about what sparks you up. If a person comes to you, and I think maybe some of our clients are also not necessarily people who are super playful. So if a person who's a little bit more serious comes to you, and they say, okay, I've got to present some employee engagement survey, I only have 15 minutes. How do they actually tell stories then, at a time like this? They are somebody who's probably a bit more cognitive, more analytical.
Oh yeah, I've coached a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, yeah. So I'd love to hear, what kind of advice would you give to, clients that are like that? They have to present numbers. They feel that they're serious. They might not necessarily think that they're very playful or very funny. How can we best incorporate storytelling into them presenting the data, right? Because now it's not just about giving them spreadsheets. We want to incorporate stories, and it's like 15 minutes. How can a person best do this?
One thing that people very often don't realize is this. In storytelling, right, there are actually different stories going on. It's not, I'm the speaker, I have a story to tell, listen to my story. What you don't realize is that your audience are also in the story. It's like when a filmmaker makes a film, right, it needs to think about how the audience is going to watch that and have a certain emotion and feeling and the story that's going on in your own minds as you're watching the movie. So if you're a very intellectual person, right, the kind of approach I normally use, right, is what I call intellectual misdirection. Intellectual misdirection is because very often it's like you know something so well at the back of the palm, but you know that your audience that you speak to sometimes have certain misconception around it. Work with that misconception, take them down that wrong misconception, and then you twist and you reveal the truth to them. And then they go, oh, I have been misled all this while. I've had this wrong perspective all this while. And so now you change the perspective. So the gift of you as a very intellectual type of person is you shift people's perspective about things. And that's also impactful presentation. Yeah. Because sometimes,
and that will be exciting for the person who is doing that speaking, because now there's this extra adventure that they're going through, which they will enjoy.
Because, sometimes smart people have a common frustration. Smart people's frustration is that they are so smart about something, they wish other people were just as smart, but they are not. And then they have this frustration, and then they almost feel like they're judging people for not being as smart. That's not a very good energy to come from, because if you feel you walk into the room with a sense of superiority complex, people are going to sense you, people are going to feel it from you the way you speak and present. They're not going to like you. They can't put a finger to it, but whatever you say isn't going to fly over them because they don't like you at all. But
plus the numbers are boring, so why should I listen to you?
Yeah, but what if you lean in to people's misconception, take them down the misconception, and then you present to them your case why they have been misled all this while. Now people feel like, oh wow, I'm led down this direction, and suddenly there's a twist. And twists are always good. And that's what smart people are great at doing. They can engineer that twist. So you see, I work with different people, and I kind of like work with their natural strengths rather than try to teach them. Because a lot of coaching and a lot of presentations coaching is all like based on, templated. Follow this template. People speak like that. Watch Barack Obama speak, then you speak like him. Watch Steve Jobs speak like Steve Jobs. Watch Tony Robbins, you mentioned him, right? Then you speak like Tony Robbins. But not everyone is a Tony Robbins. Not everyone is a Barack Obama. Not everyone is a Steve Jobs. Not everyone is a Dalai Lama. Everyone has their own different persona, their different archetypal energy. And so it's a very interesting thing for me. I really enjoy doing this because I work with different people and I kind of bring that persona into that speech. There's a certain theatrical element to it. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
I love how profound and powerful this is, right? Because sometimes we think that, public speaking is just one-dimensional. I give you a framework, you just go and create something. While that can be done, it still goes back to this thing about style where how you're delivering it might not be congruent to who you really are, and you feel kind of disconnected from the content. Yeah, so I love this. I love what you're talking about. And yes, we should be talking about the train the trainer thing, because I think a lot of people would love to learn from you how to better train and coach this. But okay, another thing altogether. So, okay, here's a question. I'm just going to be the devil's advocate here, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Imagine this. A senior executive, his name is Sunny. He comes to you and he says, my CEO is in town, and he's calling for a meeting at quick notice. He wants an update on the numbers. Yeah, so Sunny is one person who has never gone through any public speaking training, never gone through healing before. And then he comes to you and he says, okay, Coen, I need some quickie coaching. Yeah, I know that we don't really have time. So what is the best way, what is the best tip that you can give to somebody like that to be able to present his numbers and make it engaging and meaningful for the CEO who's going to be listening in?
Okay, I think the first question we need to come back to here is, what is the purpose of Sunny's presentation? Very often people think my presentation is to inform. Like, fair enough, your presentation is to inform. Like, I'm trying to give an update, a status update to the CEO. That's information. However, we don't often stop at information, because once you present the numbers, your CEO is going to have a certain narrative about those numbers. Right? So if his narrative is like, these numbers don't quite meet the target, your backside is going to be on fire.
Yes.
Right? So that's information is only at the first level.
Yeah.
The second level is what's called speaking to persuade. Speaking to persuade, right, is maybe you're presenting the numbers maybe as a way to ask for more timeline, more time, for a longer runway. Maybe you're presenting the numbers because you're trying to ask for more investments or resources. Or like, for example, you are a HR director, you're supposed to present the salary benchmarking, and you need to present your CEO as, hey, this is the reason why we need to raise the salaries of our engineers so that we can be on par with market rates, for example. So that's called persuasion. Then you need to understand what exactly you're persuading people to do. What exactly you want the person to do, feel, or say after you have done your presentation. So you need to know, are you speaking to inform or to persuade? Or are you speaking to inspire? But if Sunny is going to speak to CEO, I don't think a CEO needs to inspire them. So probably that one is out. The fourth one is speaking to harmonize. What's harmonize? Harmonize is, sometimes maybe your CEO is not happy with you about something. And you have some previous history with this CEO, and the CEO is watching you. You're not quite performing up to the mark. Now you need to present your numbers as a way to harmonize. What I mean by harmonize is you need to share how these numbers have shown improvement prior to compared to previous cycles. So if you're there to speak to harmonize, then you need to speak with a different tone. You need to have a different approach. You need to present the numbers in a different way. You need to show that, hey, I'm doing my best. Even though the numbers are not there yet, but I'm trending in the right direction. You see that? So the context is so important. So the number one tip I will give to Sunny is like, understand why are you actually speaking. Because if you don't even have any idea whether you're there to inform, you're there to persuade, you're there to inspire, or you're there to harmonize, you're just going to go there and just present numbers, go through the motion of presenting the numbers, and then good luck to you, because whatever your CEO is going to think, he's going to continue thinking. Because people sometimes suffer from confirmation bias. They walk into a situation wanting to confirm what they already thought. So if your CEO already has certain ideas about who you are, about Sunny, or have certain bias or certain expectation of Sunny, he's going to go into the presentation reconfirming those suspicion or reconfirming those bias. So Sunny needs to then understand what is he really presenting so that he can have a better chance of controlling the narrative.
Oh, I love that. So tell me again, the fourth one is to inform, and then you have persuade, and inspire, and harmonize.
Yeah.
Is it possible for somebody to want to achieve two of these objectives?
Sort of, yes. Yes. I mean, just a very simple example. Let's say, for example, I'm doing a cooking demonstration, okay, like typical cook show. It sounds on the surface like a speak to inform, right? I'm informing you how, step by step, put this ingredient in, how to cook this dish. But there's also a certain element of inspiration there, right? You also need to speak in such a way that you inspire your audience, people watching on the television to feel like, hey, yeah, I can also cook this dish. You need to have certain element of inspiration to it. So, for example, if Sunny is going to present the information, like some numbers, on the surface, it sounds like she's informing. But maybe he needs to slip in certain stories. He needs to slip in, like, for example, where are the numbers trending? The numbers need to tell a story. Like, are we trending in the right direction? Like maybe there's going to be some drop-off because of an impending recession, because of for example, tariffs, all right? So whatever that is, right, like he needs to also be able to preempt and then look forward and then, okay, present the narrative in front so that he can preempt and can kind of harmonize and say, hey, Mr. CEO, this is what I see is going to happen moving forward. How can we sit together and harmonize? And how can we sit together and tackle this together? So now he's harmonizing himself alongside CEO. He's positioning himself alongside the CEO as a partner to solve the problem together, rather than he has a kind of like a competitive relationship with CEO. Because if he goes in the presentation feeling that I'm here to prove to the CEO and the CEO is not going to be happy with me no matter what I present, he's already defeated. Like I said, good public speaking is based on good private being. If his private being is ready, he's walking with a defeatist attitude, he's not going to have any impact at all. So much unpack. Yeah, I know.
So this wholehearted influence, it's really about, a big part of it is also kind of knowing your why before you become too wrapped up in the how, right?
Knowing your why, knowing your who you are, knowing who your who, knowing your why.
Before going into the how. Okay.
The what,
Yeah, I love that, and making meaning out of these numbers wherever you're presenting, knowing your purpose. Okay, so for people who are listening in, again, I'm just going to be the devil's advocate. And they're going to say something like, hey, Coen, just tell me how to tell a story. Okay, so I'm going to go into a presentation soon. And okay, I really don't know. I've got a story. I might have a story in my mind. I don't even know I have a story. How do I tell it now? I've got some numbers. What are some immediate tips you can give them?
Okay,
let's say they don't know what's their purpose very clearly. Okay, maybe they say, okay, I think I'm here to inform. I'm not sure. I have a bunch of numbers. I need to announce it in a town hall. I'm guessing I do want to inform and also maybe inspire a bit of change. Yeah, for people to up their level of employee engagement in the team. Yeah, what immediate tips do you think you could share with them?
I think first of all, you need to know, right, like when you present the numbers, what the numbers say, right? I think the audience are very savvy nowadays. People form their own conclusions. Like I said, people have confirmation bias. People have formed their own conclusions even before they listen to you. So I think it's important for you to really not try to pull the wool over their eyes. So if the numbers are not good, just got to say the numbers are not good. For example, the recent climate survey, right, the recent pulse surveys, we have dropped how many points, right? It's at how many percent, and one particular area that needs to really focus on is this, right? So you need to sometimes tell the truth. But the thing is now, when you tell the truth, right, you need to actually have a sense of what are people's attitude towards those numbers. Are they going to be like, the numbers are so low, then what for even try? Then people will be even more demoralized. Then it's going to be very hard for you to then pull off your brightest smile and say, but we can do it. Like that motivational talk is just going to fall
Yes, it's just going to feel very flat, right?
It's just going to feel so patronizing.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important for you to really, know what the numbers are and try not to try to push it your way through.
Cannot fudge it too much, right? It is what it is, right? Yes.
Own your own bullshit, So go in there, just say it as it is, right? But then you need to be very clear about what is it that you want from people. So the tree frame here is very simple. I can offer you a tree frame. What it is. So say the number, say what it is. What it is. What it could or should have been. Okay, so maybe our numbers are at this number, 75% is too low. What it could or should have been is 85%. That's our target. We fall short of our target by 10%. So now what needs to happen next? So tree frame. What it is, say it as it is. What it should have been, and what is going to happen next. So these are the 3 frames I can offer to you. If you
And
really,
sorry, the last one is?
what we are going to do about this.
What we're
What's
going to do about it.
What's going to happen moving forward. And so a lot of times, if you're HR, for example, you're talking about employees' engagement and everything, you need to talk to the line manager and say, this is what it is, this is what it could and should have been, this is what we need from you. Now we need to work together. Now we need to co-create something together. Let's come up with an action plan. There's a certain way of co-creating this with everybody. So everybody feels like they're part of it, rather than it's just another thing that HR does. I think the world that we live in today really has no place for silos. I think companies really need to pull together. I think we are having a recession. We have a lot of headwinds coming forward. I don't want to sound like, PAP. but I mean, the world that we live in is more than VUCA, it's more than, uncertain and everything. It's just totally, like, you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think it's important for companies to really pull together. There's really no place for silos. But unfortunately, what happens is that there's so much tension at the workplace right now. Everyone's looking over their back, wondering whether they are the next to go. Let's be honest. This is my truth telling, right? Let's be honest, this is what's happening right now. It does make me feel quite sad and a little anxious about it as well. I'm just trying to do what I can.
And that's also where the storytelling comes in as well, right? Rather than presenting numbers as it is, you actually add in your stories in between. So the beginning part, I'm just thinking what it is right now. It's also very important to make people care about. Who the hell cares about these numbers? You're not going to make it important for me. Like, why should I care about it? Why is this important? And then the second one, what it should have been or could have been you're talking about. So does it mean that the person ideally will need to sort of compare and contrast it with what it was before versus where we want it to be? So the clear comparison. Because if it's a number alone, then I would have no context as to what does this even mean to me, right? So let's say employee engagement, the industry standards is 65%. And then if we show a number that shows ours is 45%, and the last year it was actually 70%, then it's a very clear indication of what this is.
Exactly. Until now, right, if you're still not so on storytelling, right, I've got this to say to you. If you, as a leader or trying to influence the outcomes, don't set the narrative. People are going to set the narrative anyway, right? Like what we see in the world today, right? It's like politics in some Western countries, like in the US. Depending on which TV station you listen to, you get very different narratives.
Oh, yes.
Another thing is, Singapore recently just went through a general election, right? It's like there's a lot of narratives on the ground. Like people have their narratives, and their narratives are usually so fixated. They are only going to look for information to reinforce the narrative that they already have. And if you don't believe the importance of setting the narrative, here's the thing for you. If you don't tell the story, people are going to tell the story anyway, and you're not going to like it. What are complaints? Stories. What are gossip? Stories. What are speculation? Stories. If you just go to Shenton Way and then you eavesdrop into some of the things that people talk about, they complain about their bosses, they complain about their jobs. What are those? Stories, right? So if you don't come out and tell the story, people are going to tell you anyway and you're not going to like it. So I think as a leader, part of your job is really to make meaning for people. And the best way to do that is to tell stories.
Love that. So a reporter shares numbers, but a leader shares the meaning. That drives the action behind it,
Yes.
Yeah, very, very powerful. You've given us like a little masterclass in turning influence into intentional storytelling. So let's get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you see, we've got so much to talk about. It's time for quick fire connections.
Okay, sure.
So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, okay? And you will need to ideally answer it in 5 seconds.
Okay, I'll try.
You can elaborate, but you cannot think too long.
Okay.
Okay, question number 1. Who is your role model for wholehearted influence and why?
Wow, so many mentors, right? The person I think that comes to my mind, Brenda Benz. Why? Because she embodies wholeheartedness.
Brenda Benz.
She's so successful and she's so humble. And whenever I talk to her, I always feel so uplifted. It's Brenda Benz.
Brenda Benz.
Brenda
Say
Benz.
hello to you. We both love you. What's your favorite story to tell that's guaranteed to move people?
Wow, so many. You want me to tell a story or
if you can, if it's
it's not going to be in 5 seconds. But my favorite story is really about how I actually helped rescue a marriage on a cruise ship when I felt so much imposter syndrome. But I just go and do it anyway. Like I said, good public speaking is based on good private being. And I just went up there and shared wholeheartedly. And someone came up to me and said, hey, they're having some challenges with their marriage. They're married for 30 years. They're about to divorce. So they wanted to speak to me. And I just leaned into it and said, I don't know if I can help you, but I'm just going to try. So I listened to them, listened to both sides of the story. I gave them some advice. I tell them maybe...
Stories again?
Yes.
Yes.
And maybe there are certain stories they're not listening to each other about. And then I help them listen beyond the stories that they already have about each other, their judgment that they already form about each other. And at the end of it, they came up to me and says, Coen, I don't know what you do, but you rescue our marriage.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I shot a video on live with them, but they says, can you don't share this video? So I have never shared that video because they have not given me the permission. I think they wanted to keep it private.
Very nice. That's really very wholehearted of you, Coen. We'll rescue someone's marriage. What's your biggest storytelling disaster?
Actually, it was during COVID. I was speaking to a group from Sri Lanka, a group of like people from the Leadership Association, and I think I was liaising with a few intermediaries. They were telling me, "Oh, they are very excited to listen to you and everything." So I started because it's the topic of the keynote is a virtual keynote, obviously during COVID. The topic of keynote is storytelling for influence. So I started by launching my own personal story. But about 3 minutes into the story, someone typed in the chat, in a Zoom chat, it says, it'd be great if the speaker goes straight to the point.
Oh my God.
And then everyone started commenting, yeah, it's great if the speaker goes straight to the point. What is the point of all this story? What is the point of this? And I was like, oh my God, I just got...
I would have shit my pants if I were to hear that in the middle of speaking. Yeah. Okay, what happened?
So I just said, guys, I'm telling you a story. Like, listen to what I'm saying, right? And then you see how it has a feeling impact on you. And you're saying, no, just tell us exactly, right? What's going to happen to our farm produce? What's going to happen? What are some of the strategies you think that we can have for our farm produce to sell? Will we still be able to sell? Will we still be relevant? Will we still be able to make money during COVID? Will it affect borders? I was like, there's clearly some misalignment between all the different intermediaries who organized this speech for me, because I never claimed to be an expert in agriculture. I never claimed to be a trade expert. I'm not here to give you any advice on how to export your fresh fruits overseas and whether supply chain will be affected. I'm not a supply chain expert. So it was really a misalignment of expectations. I'm usually a very inner person. I ask a lot of questions to the organizers, and they just said, everything's going to be fine. They're all excited to listen to me, but apparently it was just a misalignment.
Oh, that's painful. That's painful.
Yeah, it's one of the loneliest places to be,
When people just don't get you, they're asking you to hurry up. Oh my God, I can totally feel that, by the way.
Yeah, you give a speech that they never came for.
What's the weirdest place you've ever had a breakthrough in storytelling?
What kind of question is that? Oh my God. This one is a bit of...
Me, you're pooping. Huh? Me, you're pooping or something like
That's
that.
the first place I went to, actually.
Actually, a lot of inspiration come, when you're sitting on the throne sometimes. Because at that time, you're full focus.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What's yours?
Yeah, I guess it was actually at Starbucks when I was trying to find a girlfriend.
Oh.
And I saw a girl quite cute lah. Yeah, she was sat like exactly where you are, and then across the table. I mean, different table, but something similar. And
So you started creating stories in your mind already?
No. You can listen to this. I looked at her. I thought she looked over as well. So I decided to go and talk to her. And I said, "You a regular here?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "What do you do?" The typical question, like very awkward, right? And she's like, "Oh, I'm a cabin crew with I think a Jetstar." I was like, "Oh, wow, nice." It's like, oh, then she asked me, "What do you do?" Obviously, she asked me. I said, "I'm a trainer." Then she's like, "Oh, I can use your service." And I'm like so excited. I was like, "Oh, really? Like, what kind of training do you need? Right? Let's talk. Let's exchange numbers." And she's like, "For my dog." And I was like, "What? Like training for your dog?" And then I think she saw my face, right? Then she kind of like, I did try to rescue the situation, but I said, "Oh, no, I was just joking, yeah, don't worry about it." But I just beat a quick retreat. I was like, "Bye." And I just escaped. And I'll never, since that day, I never want to introduce myself as a trainer again. Yeah, maybe I'll call myself a facilitator than a trainer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was embarrassed.
If you could only give one piece of advice to someone who wants wholehearted influence, what would you tell them?
one day, your life will flash across your eyes like a movie. Make that movie worth watching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so profound. Thank you for that. You know, Coen, this has been really incredible. Thank you for bringing your insights, your passion, and your whole heart into this conversation. I've really, really enjoyed having it with you, and I believe that the audience has as well. So tell us, where can we find you if we want to connect with you, or if we want to dive a little bit deeper into your Wholehearted program?
Well, you could check me out on coentan.com. That's my personal website. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Coen Tan. I write almost every weekday on LinkedIn. And also check out my whole other podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm sure you'll paste the link in the show notes.
I'm very, very happy to do that. And
Yeah.
Coen writes the most soulful, the best LinkedIn posts. And every day when I scroll, if I see Coen, I must read that post. So that's really how good he is. And I'm saying that, like I say, I'm not just a friend, I am a fan. So thank you for being here. Really, really happy to have you here. So thank you to all of you who are watching as well. So here's a question. What's a helpful insight you've gained from today? And what's one action step that you would take? So remember, influence isn't just about being heard, it's about being wholehearted. I'm Cindy Tien with the Own Your BS show. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Yay! Oh, just nice, oh my god! Exactly 1 hour, 5:37.
You have great timing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Let's
thank
take out
you.
our mics first. Sorry? Oh, yes. Let's take photos.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you have?